Shalom, all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Harakah Kadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders, great millstone that rule well, and Shalom to all the prophets doing the work of certain truth. Got this article on the sun, and it's going into, well, I just read the title. It says, Mid-air standoff, dramatic moment, US fighter jets come face to face with Putin and Xi's nuke bombers for first time in Chilean World War III escalation. Let me see what the video is. Video was fucking loud, holy shit. So it says, what? This is the dramatic moment. US fighter jets come face to face with Putin and Xi's nuclear armed bombers for the first time. And yeah, nuclear armed. There was I think they're flying nuclear bombers somewhere in Europe. Maybe not in Europe. It would have been close to going into Europe. Russia was doing it as well. So, these things are happening, and it's not really, a marvel this is happening. Because you had, was it yesterday or the day before? Netanyahu going into the States and giving like a speech in Congress, I believe. Where it was, he was basically just lining up Iran and gassing men up for to get stuck in against them, which is not a marvel. I'll read it in a bit, but it's like it says the least of the flock will draw them out. As far as for the role the state of Israel's got to play, that's to draw them into that conflict. That's prophecies there. It says, what the flight marks a chilling escalation towards World War III as the warplanes flew near the US territory in Alaska. And we'll go into it later. That they didn't get close to what you call it, to engaging with them. And I think you saw it in the video. I think they just escorted them through, what would it be, I guess, international waters or whatever. Or maybe it's Russian airspace. I don't fucking know, because them countries are close, so I'm not too sure. But it says, US and Canadian fighter jets detected, tracked, and intercepted 2 Russian Tupolev Tu-95 and 2 Chinese Zhan H-6 bombers late on Wednesday. Russian Su-30 and Su-35 fighters provided cover for the bombers as they sought to provoke the US. The US and Canada fought to follow F-35s, F-16s and F-18s. The Joint Bomber Patrol highlights the growing military partnership between the autocratic nations, with the brazenness of its flights worrying Western capitals. So yeah, obviously they saw, Netanyahu's going through, and he's essentially holding down the front against Iran, presently in the Middle East. So he's making sure he's like, hey, keep the money flowing, etc. Make sure we'll fulfill your will out there. Just make sure this war don't end. So he ends up going back to fucking jail, man, where his wife was at. Shortly before the war kicked off, man. That war kicked off. It was breakdancing because his wife had got slammed in jail. He was getting ready to get thrown in jail. It's funny as hell, which is why it's not a marvel why he's still there. But then he's fulfilling his role, man. He's keeping that conflict brewing, stirring the pot. So this is what the Joint Bombers Patrol highlights, the growing military partnership. Yeah, so these men obviously showcasing that they got each other's backs, and they're basically making a show of force. But that's how these things go down. It's that what's the term? It would basically be just promoting, just saying like, yo, wow, here, Wagwan, do the thing. The brains of this. Warrior in Western Capital says the planes were picked up by the North American Aerospace Defense Command through satellite and radar. NORAD said the 4 bombers did not enter US or Canadian airspace, but operated in the Alaskan Air Defense Identification Zone and did not present a threat. And it says, an ADIZ is a self-declared buffer zone in international airspace. So it was international airspace. So it's like, that's what I was thinking. They didn't like cross a line where a conflict was gonna brew, but then that's in international in which countries monitor flight movement. So but then obviously it's on the cusp of where they're like, okay, this is gonna be something. They said planes acted strictly in accordance with international legal statutes and did not violate the airspace of foreign countries. A Chinese spokesperson said on Thursday the patrols had nothing to do with the current international situation and the maneuver was not aimed at any third country. Which, is obvious bullshit. It's all these different conflicts, all these maneuvers that it's the Game of Thrones. It's like, you watch Game of Thrones. Season 1 of Game of Thrones is kind of fire for showing it, where you got Ned Stark kind of coming down and then, and getting caught in the mix. Investigating different people, putting suspicion on certain people. And then, kind of frustrating certain people's purpose. And then what ends up happening? Then people start taking action against him, because why? As far as when it comes to the Game of Thrones, to the rule, people are like, they're thinking about, I'm looking to get stuck in, and that's obviously Russia, Chinese guys are looking to get stuck in, they're looking to get a slice, and they're really gonna partake in establishing the system, especially Russia, because that's Esau. They want to have it under their vibration, and Moab's thinking about getting in, but it's as far as anything that's going to be established through them. That's only that's prior to the kingdom. They're gonna have they're gonna expand. They're gonna be able to lock in a certain level of that system, but it's the capstone that finishing of it, that's not going to take place. But these guys, that's all these different, political, international conflicts. It's all about, they're thinking about, I wanna grasp that power for myself. But then what does it say? Senior U.S. defense officials told lawmakers earlier this year that the U.S. military was revising its force towards Russia and China. Alexei Muravyev, a professor of national security and strategic studies at Curtin University in Perth, told the Financial Times the flight was near Alaska for a reason. He said the maneuver was a continuation of their efforts to put pressure on the US in the Arctic region. Yeah, which obviously is. These things, same thing with the Western world, America and its allies funding, certain nations, but putting their support behind certain people. These things are there. It's it's the equivalent of that. Them moving their ships. The US does it a lot with putting their ships in certain waters, where then they're like, okay, yeah, we're gonna, be a bulwark onto our interests in this region. Same thing with Russia's doing with its planes, doing with its its missiles and whatnot, having planes hooked up with a nuclear warhead, them, and then flying around. That's obviously having an impact. One expert on Russian-Chinese military cooperation at the University of New South Wales in Sydney said the flight marked a worrying first. So yeah, they're linking up in arms, and it's for a purpose. They've got a role to fulfill. They've got a job to do. As far as when you're dealing with Russia, they got a job to do, and they'll fulfill it, man. Joel 3 and 9 says, "What proclaim ye this among the Gentiles? Prepare war, wake up the mighty men, let the men of war come near, let them come up." And yeah, that's essentially what you've been seeing, for a hot minute. There's been, the combining, the building of power, the building of militaries, technologies, alliances, all these things in preparation. And now we're seeing, these things come to fruition. And, World War III being on the cusp, then lets us know there's, immense works that are going to be done, man. At the time of Jacob's trouble, the MOTB, these things are going to be hot, man. They're going to be, lacing people. It's going to be immense. It says what? Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. Assemble yourselves and come with ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord Yahweh. Let the heathen be wakened, and come up to the valley of Yahweh Shabbat, or Jehoshaphat, the most valley of the Most High's judgment, for there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. So yeah, none of these nations are going to be, just exempt from it. Everyone's all going to be drawn into the mire. You've had for like the last, maybe like 9 years, I've kind of seen it. Probably it's gone on for time. Even between like India and India and China. At the border, there's been conflicts. It's like, even among guys who are meant to be allies, on a certain level, there's still these conflicts going down and these little skirmishes, and then they can escalate very quickly. All these things are kind of being held, like the four winds in Revelation. The four winds are being held because why? It's about the elect. It's about the prophecies, about the word that's gone out. That word's going to be fulfilled. World War III is going to pop off, man. This place is going to be brought to its end. The missiles are going to fly. But must needs be, in its time, its completion, as far as with all the prophecies being fulfilled. Because you can't have a prophecy that's gone out, as far as with the elect, you can't have it where it's like 120,000, and 1/5 has been sealed, and then it's like, okay, yeah, we're done. The Lord's, set those bounds. The Lord's the one in charge as far as knows the day, knows how this is gonna run, and is having things continue. Oof. So right there. Jeremiah 49:20, it says, "Therefore, hear the counsel of the Lord Yahweh that you've taken against Edom, Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, and his purposes that you've purposed against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he will make their habitations desolate with them." Yeah, the least of the flock draw them out. Like I said, Netanyahu going up in Senate bill, I think it's the U.S. Capitol building it's called, actually, and putting that speech down, rousing up the people. It's fear. It's like I said, it's a Game of Thrones. It's all a game, man. These guys are playing around. It's just like you see with the U.S. presidential race. That shit is a sitcom, man. That shit is one of them soap operas. That's really what you're seeing go down. That shit is, heavily dramatic. People invest like, oh shit. It's completely enraptured the minds of the people. But then what? It's, to get people invested and drawn in. So when the conflict comes, so you listen to them speeches, you listen to these people too, you're like, damn, this is a lying piece of shit. But they can, if it were all possible, they'll deceive the very elect. These guys are wily as fuck. They can make some shit sound righteous as all hell, even though it's complete confusion and complete mess. But that's, the nature of Esau's realm. The serpent was more subtle than any creature in the garden. That's his role, man. The so-called white man's to be that subtle beast, to draw people in. I'll read this. Psalms 10. So what does it say? 10:3. What's off from 2? It says, "The wicked in his pride doth persecute the poor. Let them be taken in the devices that they have imagined." And yeah, these are the things that, the wicked, the so-called white man's, persevering. He's putting all his work, his energies into, is what? To come against Israel, to basically, bring about an attempt to frustrate the prophecy, the fulfillment of the promises made onto Israel. And that's been the MO. But he's, as he wants to, deny that from Israel. But then what, like it said, he's going to be caught in the devices that he's imagined. "For the wicked boasteth of his heart desire, and blesseth the covetous, whom the Lord Yahweh abhorreth. The wicked, through the pride of his countenance, will not seek after the Most High. The Most High is not in all his thoughts." Yeah, he's basically not dealing with Yahweh Shem Yahushua. He's thinking he can anoint himself, to Godhood, and then fulfill his desires and his wishes through attaining that. But what does it say? "His ways are always grievous. Thy judgments are far above out of his sight. As for his enemies, he puffeth at them." Yeah, that's really how Esau gets down, man. He puffs at these nations. He's basically trying to keep them in check, keep them basically underneath, his vibration, his spirit. But then what? That is all that haughtiness, all that pride is basically going to be, to your demise. Because why? It's like, you've got, the lead. You're basically the head at present. You're able to push out, your desires upon the earth through force. With that blessing, that sword, just become, the gun. All these different forms of weaponry that come from it. All these all these hella destruction, hella confusion. Keeping everything for yourself, man. Bringing immense, desire for revenge against yourself, which all these nations are gonna get. So even Isaiah 14, man. These nations are gonna be, happy that Esau's been done away with, man. It's been taken out of the way. Because otherwise, what can you do? Esau, he's been set up now. It's fucked. Habakkuk 2:5. Yea, also, because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. Shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his? How long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay in heavy debts. These, nations are looking and realizing, like, how, is this guy really going to maintain the rule? Is he really gonna stay, in charge? Is that really his role? And as time's gone on, it's become clearer and clearer. This guy is dodgy, and the way he deals with the world is dodgy as well. But then, other aspect is, people are hella invested in this place, man. That's really why it's still here. They're putting in the utmost to keep this place alive, despite it decaying, from every orifice. Shall they not rise up suddenly that shall bite thee, and awake that shall vex thee, and thou shalt be for booties unto them? So yeah, all these different nations, they're looking to get that, that payback, man, that revengeance. Because with, Esau's kingdom, he's basically heaped everything to himself. He's able to, to build a place, for himself to glory in, at the expense of everyone else. Everyone comes to like, damn. So them things that, were stolen from our hometown came here. These men built and set some shit up and then just smashed it all. We're like, nah, actually, fuck that, we're leaving now. And then, after taking your resources, after, making you deal with some completely criminal, trade contracts and whatnot, then it's like, oh, they think they've done some great work. It's just a mess. It's just death and destruction, man. And that's the thing that's, when the veil's taken off everyone, they're gonna realize, like, yo, hold on, what the fuck are we dealing with there? What the fuck was I fighting for? Why was I so invested in this spot? But then, yeah, because thou hast spoiled many nations, all the remnant of the people shall spoil thee, because of men's blood, and for the violence of the land, of the city, and of all that dwell therein. That payback, man, that big payback. Which, as far as Esau, there's too much blood. He's gonna have to go further. But yeah, I'll leave it there. Shalom. Shalom, Yahweh Shem Shem, Shem HaKadosh Baruch Hu.